If you would have told me this offseason, the summer of 2025, that I'd be making a transfer portal video right now for Sam Leavitt, I would have thought you were crazy. Watching his redshirt freshman season at Arizona State, the 2024 film, I really thought this was going to be a big-time guy in the 2026 NFL draft. And the national media agreed with me. I'm not sure if he was the betting favorite, but, taking a look at those early mock drafts, Sam Leavitt was a name that was getting mocked first overall, and if not that, top 10 time and time again. And he got a bit banged up in 2025. We'll talk about that at the end of this video, but the media just kind of stopped talking about Sam Leavitt. I think the film tells a completely different story. I'm still very excited about Sam Leavitt as a college football player. I'm kind of happy that we get another year of him in college football and then as an NFL player down the line, because I still think that that's in the cards for Sam Leavitt. No doubt in my mind that this dude's going to be an NFL quarterback when it's all said and done. But we'll talk about that throughout this entire video, and I want to get started with the arm strength. To me, this was the first thing that I really noticed with Sam Leavitt. We'll talk about his arm strength, pushing the ball down the field eventually, but I want to start with some of these shorter throws. We'll get into the Cadillac throws in a little bit. I just kind of wanted to ease you into this Sam Leavitt video. We'll see the arm strength, even the throws that won't show up, those shorter screen throws, that happens very consistently, and then even against zone very consistently. The way that he can just kind of fit the ball in between zone defenders because of how strong that arm is. A very quick processor as well. That's something that you'll see a lot of scouts talk about, how fast he reads defenses. But also, it's not just the reading. It's from actually deciding to throw versus the actual ball getting there. The ball just explodes off of his hands, and we can see that right here. I want to play this one more time because, if you ever watch a pitcher in baseball, I don't watch a lot of baseball, but those pitchers that throw 95 miles an hour, you can just kind of hear like the catcher's glove just kind of snap. Look at the way this ball is caught right here. The way that this receiver's arms or his hands just kind of snap at that football. To me, that's how you can kind of tell how fast this ball is traveling that comes out of Sam Leavitt's hands. And we see it on those shorter throws, but these are the Cadillac type throws. These are the ones that I really want you to take home with you. How strong Sam Leavitt's arm is downfield. This is a 60-plus yard throw. I think it's about 50 in a straight line if you were just looking at Sam Leavitt in front of him, but on an angle here from the opposite hash all the way to the other sideline, this ends up being close to a 60-yard throw, I think, just doing the math in my head. And you can take a look the way that it hits this wide receiver in stride downfield very consistently. When Sam Leavitt is pushing the ball down the field, you'll see that it hits these wide receivers in stride. They don't have to make a crazy adjustment to it. We talk about these top receivers in the country all the time about the flexibility, the way that they make these circus-level catches. Well, at the college level, when you don't have those NFL wide receivers around you, Sam Leavitt makes it very easy for these receivers downfield because of the way it hits these wide receivers in stride. It all starts with the arm strength, but it's also the timing, the way that he reads defenses as well. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And of course, Sam Leavitt has a guy that can make those circus-level catches, a guy that's going to play a long time in the NFL in Jordan Tyson, a guy that's going to be really good in my opinion. But I really like the way Sam Leavitt makes things easy on those deeper throws, the way that he hits wide receivers in stride. And now we're going to talk about the athleticism with Sam Leavitt. So this dude's fast, not only in a straight line, but he is very shifty in the open field. And I think what I really like about what we saw from Sam Leavitt in 2025, it's not a guy that you have to design quarterback runs for. Every play is just baked in as the potential to be a quarterback run because this dude does such a good job just manipulating the pocket. If there's nothing there downfield, he has the athleticism to step up, take a running lane if it's there, and then actually create running lanes because of how shifty and how sudden and how good of a ball carrier he is. Not just an athlete. There's quarterbacks across the entire country that are great athletes. He is a very good ball carrier in the sense that he's going to continue to add yards because he knows how to use that athleticism and does a good job, making throws as well. We'll see that, him breaking the pocket. Look at this right here. We got the sticks on the screen. We can see it's 4th and 5 or whatever, need a first down in this situation. Look at the way that he can just get around this Mississippi State defender, and they end up losing this game. This is when the media kind of stopped talking about Arizona State, but I think Leavitt had a good 2025, no doubt in my mind. And see another athletic clip on this one right here. We've talked separately about Sam Leavitt's arm strength and his athleticism. I now want to talk about the way that he uses them both at the same time, and we'll see that right now. We saw before the way that he takes running lanes when the running lanes are there. Well, when they're not there, he does a great job finding guys downfield and making these crazy highlight type reel throws. And I know it seems like a risky throw. We're going to watch these next couple ones, and you might think that, okay, this shows up in a highlight tape, King Cold, but I want to see the plays, that don't turn out like this, that turn into interceptions when he takes these very risky throws downfield. And I got to tell you, with Sam Leavitt, those do not show up. This is a guy that, off the top of my head, I'm going to have the stats on the screen in a little bit, but had nine interceptions at Arizona State. He does not turn the ball over often. He does a very good job just kind of understanding the risk-reward relationship. And, these throws are only, by the way, they're only dangerous if there's a safety sitting underneath, if they're in zone defense and there's somebody sitting watching Leavitt the entire time. A lot of times we see these quarterbacks throw interceptions on those throws because there's so much air underneath it. I think Leavitt, watching the entire games with Sam Leavitt, we'll just play this through again one more time. If there's a safety sitting underneath this, you take a look at how much air is underneath the ball. There's a lot of room for a safety to react to that. The thing is, there's nobody sitting underneath that. This entire time, we're going to see one play later that I'll tell you showed up, but for the most part, he does a really good job taking these chances when they're there to be taken. And we don't really see those risky ones turn into interceptions often. Like I said, threw 9 interceptions at Arizona State. This one right here, we saw it against man coverage before. This is against zone. The fact that Sam Leavitt is such a good athlete is going to open up these scramble drills downfield, because he can not only take those running lanes like we saw for a 10-yard gain, he actually has the wiggle to turn those into 30, 40, back-breaking level runs. Well, when you can do that, take a look at in this zone defense right here, the way that all these defenders step up to defend Sam Leavitt's running ability, that's going to open up a wide receiver downfield, and he can just drop it to him. He does that so consistently, and it doesn't turn negative very often when he takes those, riskier level throws. Very accurate on the run as well. We'll see that right here, the ball placement downfield, even though that he's not throwing with a base, consistent base, because he was scrambling outside of the pocket. Really like that. This play as well, this is just a little check down, and I really like the way that he only turns his back to the defensive line for maybe a half second. A lot of quarterbacks, I'm telling you right now, the one thing that we kind of see consistently with these college football players, and sometimes it works out, they just really turn their back to the defensive line, and that turns into a lot of negative plays. Leavitt only does that for about a half second. The fact that he's staying with his face to the line of scrimmage allows him to react to what's in front of him and then find a receiver downfield. I really like the pocket manipulation that Sam Leavitt has, and we'll kind of move into some of the negative plays, and I think the next 3 that we'll watch after this first one, I just wanted to include some negative plays just so it wasn't like I'm telling you Sam Leavitt's the next coming or whatever. There is things to work on, and I just think the one thing that I kind of saw consistently was he's so good with the pressure in his face when he can kind of escape it, but when he kind of has a guy bearing down on him, he does good outside of the pocket before on the deeper throws. A lot of times with these shorter throws, when he's trying to fit a ball into a tight window and there's pressure in his face, he just kind of quickens the mechanics up too much. I don't know exactly what it is, but this is kind of random inaccuracies that you'll see with Sam Leavitt, and he'll just kind of miss easy throws. And this isn't even the worst example. I kind of lost the other clip that I had, but you can just kind of see where this ball ends up. Kind of turns into a dangerous throw, even though it's a 5-yard throw. It really only happens when there's pressure in Sam Leavitt's face. That was the one thing that I saw consistently. Like I said, this dude's only thrown, I think, 11 career interceptions, and 2 of them were at Michigan State when he was a redshirt freshman, or a freshman, true freshman. I'm not sure we can really count those. I think the decision-making's very solid. There's just a couple throws, that weren't worth the risk. And this one right here, I'll tell you right now, I think this was the right decision. There's room to hit this wide receiver once he passes this cornerback here. The safety's sitting on it. I really do think Leavitt has the arm to fit this into this window right here. We can see the receiver by the 20-yard line right now at the top of the screen. I just think he kind of tries to put too much touch on this one and should have turned into an interception. I think if he would have just ripped it, that would have been a touchdown or at least a big gain. But, those kind of bad decisions or those bad throws are very few and far between. And this was the other one against Mississippi State, where he's trying to make too much happen. And this is what I was talking about before, but he actually has a base to throw with. It's not like he's off balance here, and it's not like safety just hung on it. Just a bad decision. Didn't show up often. And then this last one in a red zone situation here, there's 2 guys sitting on this crossing route. So I think that the film that Sam Leavitt put up in 2025, if this guy did declare for the draft, if he did go through the pre-draft process, I think you watch the actual film, you like what you see at the combine, because I think this dude would have tested very well and looked really good in the t-shirt and shorts throwing a football, because he looks good in a helmet and pads throwing a football. I think this guy would have ended up in the first round. Now, the reason that I think that this guy's coming back to college football is with this foot injury that he had. He did get injured. He did get surgery on the foot. It was kind of a lingering issue. I think he missed the Utah game earlier in the season, and then he came back against Houston, got a little banged up early in the game, and then ended up getting taken out for good, and then got the surgery after that, and he missed the rest of the season. I think that the reason that he didn't declare is because it would have been tough with, recovering with that foot injury to kind of go through that pre-draft process. I mean, you're not going to throw as much as you'd want him to at the combine, at the pro day, whatever it was. I think that would have made it kind of difficult for him to get into the first round. So I think that if this dude was healthy in 2026, he'd be a first-round pick, in my opinion. Now, talking about him as a transfer portal prospect, you're telling me you're getting a guy with that upside. I think you get really excited about Sam Leavitt. I think the conversation's not really, is Sam Leavitt a good football player? It's going to be, is he worth as much as some college football teams are going to be wanting to pay for him? In my opinion, I think he's a great football player. I think the money kind of justifies itself if you win football games. It's not really going to be on Sam Leavitt. I think he's a great quarterback. I think it's going to be about the infrastructure, the scheme and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about that when he commits to whatever team. But yeah, you guys let me know where you think Sam Leavitt should go. I'm not going to really speculate on it because, with college football, with NIL, with the transfer portal, there's just so much moving parts. It's kind of hard to do that. But yeah, you guys make sure to reach out. Let me know where you think he should go. If he does commit and you're watching this, let me know how you think he kind of fits that new team scheme, and I'll give my 2 cents on it. But to me, I think the skill set's so good. He's a good athlete, good arm. It's kind of hard to see him not succeeding with a good infrastructure around him. But yeah, you guys let me know. I think if he's very productive in this upcoming season, I still think he'll be a big-time NFL draft prospect in 2027. Also a guy that has 2 more years of eligibility, so if this foot injury, kind of blows up and you still have another year of eligibility past this 2026 season. So I think that's going to be something that you have in your back pocket. I think if he plays well enough this upcoming season, we'll talk about him in the 27 draft. But that remains to be seen. We'll make sure to cover all that on this channel. Thanks for watching.